Joe talks about Joe. And now, your host, Joe Slepsky.
Hey, and welcome back to Joe on Joe Extreme. It's me, your host, Joe Slepsky. I feel like that extreme kind of tailed off a little bit. It's early on a Sunday morning. So I got to get my pipes behind me, ladies and gentlemen, because I have someone here who's going to keep me on my pipes A game. Someone with we're both vying for the deepest voice in the biz. He is the host of the What's on Joe Mind podcast. This is his second bite at the extreme apple because he loved it so much the first time. Welcome back to Joe on Joe, Mike Irizarry from What's on Joe Mind. Mike, welcome back to Joe on Joe.
Extreme!
Yours is like a heavy metal extreme. Mine is like a plaintive, I'm crying because my girlfriend left me extreme. Like I can't,
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to compete with you on that one.
Oh well, no,
that we have different quality voices in our call to extreme.
They both work. They absolutely both work. Yeah, that was not a criticism.
It works for the cause.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yours has more hair. Well, no, they both have the same amount of hairspray. Yours has more like leather and studs and stuff. Mine is a little more muted. Mine is sitting down on a stool. And probably at the end of my extreme, I shed a couple tears because my heart is so broken. Yours, you like punch someone in the belly.
After that we kick into the guitar solo.
Yeah. Oh, there's definitely kicks involved. Speaking of all that, for no reason, unrelated to anything. By the time this airs, who knows? They may have closed up shop. But last night, thank you to Joe on Joe contributor, friend of the show, best friend of Joe, Matt Von Teese. He brought to attention that in Richmond, Virginia, there is a pizza place called Hot for Pizza, and it is a Van Halen themed pizza place. And I've never been more in love with a pizza place than a Van Halen themed pizza place.
That's outstanding.
Yes. So listeners, and this is an unpaid plug, if you're in Richmond, Virginia, go to Hot for Pizza. Tell them Joe on Joe sent you, and when they look at you with befuddlement, just move along and ask for the David Lee Roth.
As long as there's no pineapple.
Yeah, well, don't get the Gary Sharon. If you order it like with Gary Sharon, it just comes with anchovies.
Poor Gary Sharon.
Oh, poor Gary Sharon. So when we first had you on the show, it was like week 3 or something of the quarantine. We're now in week 118 of the quarantine. How are you feeling? How are you holding up mentally, physically? Everyone healthy? Everyone good? What's going on, Mike?
Well, mentally and physically is okay. I think it's like everybody else at this point. Emotionally is bruising a little bit like a banana.
Yeah.
There's not much else to do but take it one day at a time and find some stuff that amuses you and enlightens you. And, if that means that you're the weirdo that's up on Sunday morning to podcast about a forgotten cartoon with somebody across the country.
Yeah.
Then so be it.
Be that weirdo. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Embrace your weird.
Well, like when a banana starts to bruise, you throw those bananas in the freezer, right? So take your emotions and put them in the freezer. Just like Arnold Schwarzenegger told us to do. Freeze.
That's right.
Yeah, just freeze your emotions, everybody. We'll get through this somehow. By becoming emotionally crippled.
Is there room in the freezer with all the bodies?
No, there are not. That's a 160,000 large freezer at this point. So, on brighter notes, since we've spoken, not only have they announced new G.I. Joe toys, but they've released new G.I. Joe. So they still haven't #released the extreme, but they've released new G.I. Joe toys. So we've got a lot of G.I. Joe toys in our hands as we speak. Have you gotten your hands on these things?
Yes, I have Wave 1. If we kind of put a bow on Wave 1 a few days ago, but I guess by the time this comes out, it'll be last week.
Oh yeah. This is we're recording, ladies and gentlemen. We're recording this in like first week of August. I think this is probably going to drop like first week of September. So use that when you're referencing your What's on Joe Mind podcast, which you all should go and listen to. It's fantastic. You host it with Joe Colton and
Mark Weber.
The what do you call him? The general?
The honcho.
The honcho Mark Weber. Yeah, they're both fantastic. So you guys just finished reviewing the toys. What were your thoughts?
Really, it was a pleasant surprise. I think is really the overall feeling. Because we got word of this, and then we saw some of the early pictures, and it's, as happens very often with new releases, having the actual figure in your hand is better than the advanced release pictures.
Yeah.
The color palettes are better. The figures hold up pretty well. Little minor quibbles here and there, but that's to be expected. But all in all, just a great run so far. We've got good characters to this point.
I agree.
Distribution is a little wonky, but we're at the point now where that's been a running problem for 15 years. So,
well, the box
what can you do?
The box. So I keep mine in box just because I don't have a ton of space for like displaying open figures and stuff. So I like to keep them in the box so I can store them. So I've been staring at the box art for the last few weeks since I've had mine. It is just absolutely gorgeous. They are stunning, the box arts on these.
Yeah. I mean, individually they're great. I wish it was a little more uniform. But
for me, I like that they're zagging on that, because I think when I look at the Star Wars, like the Star Wars Black Line, they're all pretty uniform, and I like that this is kind of separating that. Like this is saying, nope, each of these are so unique and so great, and yet they still all kind of have a theme to the boxes. And it's sort of celebrating the diversity of the fandom, because you are seeing, Phil Noto art, and and the names of the other artists are escaping me as we're talking, but you're seeing all these different styles of art that is showing, you know what I mean? Like it's showing a bigger, a broader view of the Joe universe than, let's say, if they were all, just one style. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get you there, and believe me, I know I'm quibbling on that one. It's one of those where individually they're fantastic, and I'm not really looking at the packaging anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if the packaging is your issue,
yeah,
and in my case it might be the biggest one I've got, then I really don't have an issue.
No, it's great. Have you seen any of or have you gotten your hands on any of the Cobra Island stuff? The Target, the current hardest thing to find in the world?
No, as of the moment, I have not.
As of this recording, I've got 2 of those figures no, I don't have them in hand, but our good friend, our good friend Paul Galliano has been sniping as many stores as he can, and he was able to snag me a couple of them. But I haven't yet seen them, so I haven't really seen the box arts on those and checked those out in detail. But what I don't think I've really looked for is the box art on the Baroness, and I want to know what that box art's going to look like, because she comes packaged with a motorcycle, larger a larger package and stuff. So I'm curious, is this just going to be Baroness, or is it Baroness on the cycle? Have you seen that box art yet?
They did put out some advanced images. As far as I know, on the front of the box, it's a shot of her on the cycle with the helmet on. Now, that's not to say that there's not a Baroness without the cycle on the side of the box or anything like that. We didn't see that. But that too, when the advanced images were shown there, I think Target's even got them on their site. We took a look at that back on our channel, and it was, what we could see was very definitely a Baroness on the cycle shot.
Nice. Yeah. Their Target release date stuff has been kind of a cluster as well, with reports of people going in the store and we don't ever want to harass anyone that worked at the store, but these like conflicting, no, we can't release it till the 14th. And then people having to show, no, here's the website says it should be in the first. Take them out of the back, scan them. You know what I mean? Like taking them up to the counter. Some stores actually can scan, and if they do, then they allow them to buy them. And some stores they don't scan. Like that whole nightmare of a thing. So I'm hoping that that's not a.
As somebody who once upon a time ran a Target back room.
Oh yeah.
Street dates are just a nightmare.
Are they?
They're terrible. It's they can take fines from Hasbro if they sell that stuff too soon.
Really?
And they're almost impossible to enforce because say on something like G.I. Joe toys, how many people that work in the store actually know what the actual deal is with that sort of thing?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Maybe 2, right?
Yeah.
And so it's just they'll pull some kid working an after school job, or somebody in college trying to make ends meet and say, hey, do you have this? And give them a DPCI. They'll find it in the back and just go and hand it to them, even though it's something that's street dated for 3 weeks later. And then they get to the front and they throw a fit when it doesn't scan, and most of the time the folks on the front end are just gonna buckle to that because you basically want to keep your customers happy, and they're not trying to do anything that's technically illegal.
Mm-hmm.
So you just let them do it. So the street dating stuff like this is just crazy. If you want something out at a certain time, then you really it needs to stop at the distribution center.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, it's like, hey, these are going to hit the DC on 8/1. We're going to send them out to stores on 8/14 and keep them out of the store's hands until 8/14 if you don't want to sell them on 8/14.
Right.
But it didn't go that way. So there's blame for Target in terms of how it worked down their lines, and there's blame for Hasbro for putting street dates on stuff in the first place. Street dates don't work.
Yeah.
I'm glad that the two of them were able to come between one another and just say, you know what, we're just not going to worry about this one anymore. Whatever, sell it.
Here's a question: was there this type of level of confusion when things like the 25th anniversary line came out, or is this a new one for the Joe community?
Funny enough, when I was running a back room at a Target, it was right when 25th was starting to come out.
Mm-hmm.
So those were not street dated, if I remember correctly. And so when we got them, they just went straight out to the shelves. But it was, I don't think it was anything that uniform. It was 15 years ago, so a pretty well a different world in the collectibles.
True. Yeah.
Run.
Yeah.
So
well, we've managed to cabbage patchify the G.I. Joe toys now,
more or less, yeah. and it's we're for a long time we've always been kind of proud in the G.I. Joe community. Hey, a lot of the nightmare stories that you hear, they don't happen with us, and it now because of street dating and collectible-fying, I guess is the word.
Yeah,
they're starting to, which is a little bit of a new frontier for us.
Yeah. And I'm in a couple, Facebook groups. I've said on the show before, I'm not a huge toy collector. I'm getting the new stuff because I think they're really great and might as well get on the ground floor. But I don't really do a ton of toy swapping, but I'm in a couple Facebook groups and everything. And one of the things that I saw that one of them did recently, which I really appreciated and I think is the right way to go in that group, is basically they said, here's the rule. In this group, you can't sell these for more than $10 over, over MSRP, because $10 is like your time, your effort, gas, all that stuff. Because right away I saw some people saying, "Hey man, I got like 5 of these, $80 a piece for them," and it's like you're in the same community. What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean that's the scalpers. If you want to do something like that, I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to if somebody's dumb enough to give you that money,
Yeah.
I certainly am not going to be the one that gets in the way, especially
Right.
for something that's the only reason it's not available is
because
simply because
you
it
bought
just
them
hasn't
all.
been out that long.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah.
Like I haven't seen any of these Target exclusives. I have a feeling that they've trickled out of the back rooms in the Targets in my area,
Mm-hmm.
and they won't be there on the 14th. But that still doesn't worry me because we're talking about a Target exclusive. And last time I checked, there's Targets everywhere, and they like to make money.
That is true. That is true.
So
yeah, actually
they'll
they're
be
opening
there.
a new Target by us. And well, in LA, basically, I think what happened is that like in the heart of LA, there was a legal moratorium on building, like because there were only like a handful, and then literally in the past year and a half, 2 or 3 have sprung up within a 2-mile radius of each other. So I think there was some legal wrangling that happened. So we have a third Target that's opening up in the relative close area, and every time I drive past it, I'm like, you know that they've got some of these toys sitting in there. And
Giving them the side eye.
yeah. I'm absolutely giving it the side eye for their soft launch door open day, because I'm like, these have got to be sitting inside there. There's no way, because you could see that the store shelves are stocked already. They're just putting the finishing touches on it. And I'm like, okay, as soon as I see that they're in, I'm going in. I'm going in quick. I'm going to find the Holy Grail.
You have the camouflage paint smeared on your face.
Yeah, but it's red and white. It's red and white camouflage paint. You're exactly right. Well, I'm excited today, Mike. We're watching an episode called Hard Road Home. This originally aired. This was the first episode to air in the year of 1997. It aired on January 3rd. It's an excellent episode written by Roy Thomas, of all people. Comic book
Roy
legend.
Thomas.
Yes.
You're going to have a guest appearance by the All-Star Squadron?
Yes, All-Star Squadron. And just like so every Roy Thomas book that he writes is like 8 ounces heavier than any other comic book because of all the extra dialogue on the pages. So I wonder if there was a premium, if the script for this was 3 inches thicker than any other script for G.I. Joe. And I say that with love, because I'm a big fan of Roy Thomas. All his Marvel stuff and his DC stuff. And yes, he keeps the torch burning for Justice Society and All-Star Squadron and the World War II heroes like no one else. So God bless him. I'm a fan. I like his work quite a bit. And I think it shows in this episode. I think it's a good episode. A quick primer for you listeners. Basically, we're dealing with a third world country that's getting backed by the military might of Scar, and the Joes have to go in, but the Joes don't know that Scar's behind it. They just go in there to do like a peacekeeping mission, and then they realize that Scar's behind the whole thing, and it's great. There's lots of double cross. There's freedom fighters. It's a delightful episode. Mike, have you had a chance to watch any of the other Extreme episodes since we had our call?
I watched a couple after episode 3. Like I stretched out a little bit into that, and then just life started to get in the way for a little bit. So, but yeah, I watched a couple of them just to try and get a feel for it. I was intrigued enough after watching what I had watched previous to at least start to dig into the Extreme universe, which again, I'm the first to admit when it happened live, I completely ignored it.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm here to tell you, man. So what is this? 9/21. So 18 episodes later, I'm all for it. I am absolutely all for it. And for you, if you keep going, you're gonna hit towards maybe like 7 or maybe 8 or 9 of the first season. That's when it really kicks in, and almost all the way through from the season ender through literally every episode of the season. This second season is great. Lots of like in episode continuity, lots of character growth, lots of world building, lots of back and forth. So I urge you, keep up on it. I absolutely keep hitting these, because you are going to enjoy them. And listeners, while you're on the internet, if you want to enjoy them, what you need to do is #release_the_extreme. You need to @Hasbro. You need to @G.I. Joe official. Copy me on it. and do hashtag release the extreme and ask them to release these issues. These episodes. We need to get these guys out on proper release. I'm watching on bootleg videos from Appleton, Wisconsin, recorded circa 1997. Extreme. Yeah, that is extreme as it gets. Literally, wasn't that was the Gary Cherone era of Van Halen, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
It definitely was. Yeah, these the quality is terrible. The sound is terrible. And I don't know if it's legal rights that's holding it up or what, but these episodes deserve to be seen. So let's at least get them to go on record to tell us why we're not able to see these in properly cleaned up format. Hashtag release the extreme. Do it. And you can find me at Joe and Joe Pod at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Send me an email to joeandjoepod@gmail.com. I think I've got about 3 episodes left. Three as of this writing. I've got as of this recording, I've got 3 episodes left. I've got a feelers out to a couple fans who want to be guests on the show. Got to hear back from them. So the slots are literally filling up quickly, Mike. Mike, you snuck in for a twofer right at the very end.
I'm renowned for that sort of thing.
Yeah. It's all over the internet. All over the internet. Mike Irizarry, twofer. Sneak in.
That's a matter of public record.
Well known. And Mike, where's the best place for us to find What's on Joe Mind? Because listeners, you need to follow that podcast. You need to listen to it. You guys are just celebrating your 9th year of podcasting about G.I. Joe, which is absolutely a terrific feat. And congratulations.
Yeah, we're into 9.5 at this point.
Nice.
Because, April was about 15 years ago.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
It feels like several decades.
Sorry, did I say 9? I meant 19. I'm 19. You...
Now, as I approach 74 years today.
Yeah.
But we are our audio library is on most easily accessed on Podbean. That's our home. If you're looking for audio podcasts, we've been doing a lot on our YouTube channel recently. So if you just type in, if you search on YouTube for WOJM or What's on Joe Mind, you will find us. That's what we've been doing a bit more of lately. We've been doing the team streams so you can actually see myself and Joe and Mark and occasionally my brother, Racktime Rob. Rob's companion podcast, Racktime, is exclusively audio, so you're still getting reviews of the G.I. Joe comics on our audio feed on Podbean, which is what'sonjoemind.podbean.com.
Awesome. Well,
so we're all over the place.
Yeah, you guys
we're
are.
Audio, we're video, we're the horizontal, we're the vertical.
Yeah, you guys have all the bases covered, and you're a staple of the community for sure. So listeners, check them out. You're going to enjoy it. I promise you this. So, Mike, if you are ready, we're going to get going.
I'm ready.
All right, my friend. Listeners, get your bootleg videos ready to go, because remember, hashtag release the extreme. And it's extreme. It's Hard Road Home, which is, what is this, episode? I think it's episode 9. Let me verify that. Yes, it's episode 9 of season 2, Hard Road Home. And here we go. It's critical situation.
This beginning still cracks me up every time because it's so dark you can barely tell what's going on.
Yeah, that's the problem with these bootlegs, man. You can barely. What's funny, I actually only can watch these with my headphones on. When I put it on like my computer speaker and turn the volume up, there's so much fuzz at that volume. It's almost, you can't hear anything that anyone's saying. So it's Hard Road Home, written by Roy Thomas. And we open in it's the Carpathian Mountains of Serbonia. So we're talking, like Eastern European, Czechoslovakian kind of country. Think of something like that.
Only one syllable away from an actual nation.
Yeah,
so they're trying for something.
They are. I think pretty much every nation they've talked about on this show has been that. It's like they take a real one and they just slightly change it. But that's a rich history in comics and stuff. They do that a lot. So General what did she say? General Vort or something? Basically, it's a strongman dictator guy.
No man, woman, or child shall interfere with my victory.
Yeah, okay, so there you go. You guys just heard that. No man, woman, or child is going to interfere with this general's victory over this tiny postage stamp nation of a country.
That's good
yeah,
because the G.I. Joe Extreme Squad has their new kitty commandos all ready to go.
They do, and what's great. So Mike, that's Red. You see that new guy on the screen? He's the he's like the Q of the G.I. Joe Extreme team. You know, to take up James Bond reference. He runs this is their new training facility, their pit. They don't call it the pit. But this is their new pit, the G.I. Joe headquarters, and he manages the headquarters and makes all of their new gadgets and stuff. So, like, in all these episodes since he's been introduced, whenever he's on the show, he's always like, hey, look at this new thing I got. You guys should train with this. And then we get to see the Joes in action. Clancy's back. Clancy had been kidnapped, brainwashed, replaced by Iron Claw. And look at that. He's back up on his feet, up and running.
Sick time is for weenies.
Exactly. So we get the mission is they have to send a small elite group of Joes. They can't send the whole team, which is funny because contrary to like Real American Hero, where you say, we're going to send in the whole Joe team, and you're talking a battalion, you know, you've got 40 dudes, 18, lifts and choppers and hovercrafts and aircraft carriers. If you were like sending the whole G.I. Joe Extreme team, you're like, all right, should we take the minivan? Or
it's 10 guys.
Yeah, or can we all fit in the Range Rover?
I mean, granted, they're all built as big as a barn door.
That is true. That is a good point. They do take up more space.
Yeah. Minivan might only hold 4 of them.
Right. So an elite team of G.I. Joe guys in this case is literally half the team, but it's only 3 guys. So they have to send an elite squad in because if they get if they're accused of sending in 8 people. It'll be like
war crimes everywhere.
Yeah, it'll be war crimes. But they can get away with sending 3 or 4 people because, it's not a war crime then.
Yeah, that's just a scouting team.
Yeah,
it's an expeditionary force.
Yeah. The Sesame Street Count was at the Geneva Convention, and he put that rule in place. So now we get a little insight into what's up with this general, that he is being funded by Iron Claw. Iron Claw shows up on a TV screen as he's interrogating the rebel leader who they captured in that first scene. And basically Iron Claw cucks the general.
Yeah. I mean, in the grand tradition of revealing your plans to the captives, Iron Claw just pops up on that monitor right there.
Yeah, that monitor.
So she can know exactly what's going on immediately.
Exactly. We're not going to stay behind the scenes any longer. We're going to tell the leader of the resistance, hey, this country is secretly funded by a terrorist organization, but you're never going to escape this place, of course. So, it's okay. But this is a cool scene. The team is parachuting into this country with skis on, which is awesome because when they land, they can just start skiing, which is very Bondy.
It's quite extreme.
Yeah, and the skis are jet powered. I gotta say, animation wise, I'm gonna play editor here. When all these guys land, they show all of them, like they pause and they take their parachute off. I'm asking the animators to make that a little more fluid. And as they land, they hit a little button and the parachute pops off, and I don't want to see their motion stop at all. You know what I mean? They parachuted them with the skis on their feet. And so let's, as long as we're doing cartoon stuff, let's just make it as smooth as possible. As soon as they hit that snow, just start going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we just got done with a big scene with the technical guy. So
yeah. It's
why wouldn't he design that for them?
It's a small nitpick, but I really would have liked to seen that. That would have been really, really cool. But, at least I gave him a parachute. I don't know if you've read the latest Snake Eyes Dead Game comic book by Rob Liefeld.
I did.
Yeah, he jumped out of an airplane with 0 parachutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or I'm sorry, helicopter. I couldn't tell if it was an airplane or a helicopter because it was just a blob on the page, and 0 rotors were drawn in the entire issue, where 2 helicopters appeared. I think.
Yeah. It's I have to admit, if you listened, if you're a fan of our channel, of our show, and you heard Rob's Rack Time episode, he was a lot kinder to it than I was.
Rob, your brother.
My brother.
Right.
Right.
I'm like, wait a minute, you had Liefeld on.
Yeah, no, my brother Rob was much kinder to it than I would have been, and he was critical where it needed to be critical.
Yeah,
but
I did what I think, not to toot my own horn, I did a strong Twitter thread critique of the book, both complimenting it in places and pointing out in other places where the problems with it are just unacceptable. Because it's not necessarily problems of style. It's problems of you're drawing the same person 2 different ways on 2 different pages. We're going to commercial. We'll be right back.
Listeners, I know what you need in your life. You need more podcasts. And you also love movies. So why not do a podcast that's about not 1 movie? It's about not 2 movies. It's about 3 movies and a meal. I'm talking the Movies and a Meal podcast. This show is great. It's brought to you by Keith, Brad, and Ben, and each week they bring a new movie to the table, which they all discuss as a group. And it's not, your highfalutin movies. It's What We Do in the Shadows, The Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer, and Out of Sight. It's Bad Education, Ghost Rider, and A View to a Kill. It's X-Men Last Stand, Queen Sugar, The Mandalorian, and Major League 2. They are a lot of fun to listen to. You guys know Ben. It's our friend Ben Pensarga. He was a guest on Joe and Joe. In fact, Ben was the very first remote guest that I ever had on this podcast, so he's always got a special place in my heart. I'm really digging this. I just started listening to it last week. It is a lot of fun. They bring a guest in. The guest, I listened to their Heathers episode. They were joined by Kelly, and she went in depth on her favorite movie, which was Heathers, and it made me want to go watch Heathers to watch with them. I really dig it. So guys, find them out there at Movies and a Meal, Twitter, Instagram. Their website is moviesandameal.podbean.com. They put out 1 episode a week. Give them a listen, guys. Support them. Let them know Joe on Joe sent you. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. It is quite entertaining. And now back to the show.
And we'll be back. Or we're right back. So actually, while we were talking about the the first issue of Dead Game, the Joes did a cool thing with those super skis they got. They went from skiing on snow to all of a sudden using those skis to cross a body of water, which was great because they're rocket powered. That was really cool.
Again, see, gadgets, man.
Yeah. And
good stuff.
Yeah.
You need a gadget guy.
Yeah.
I need a gadget guy.
We all need a gadget guy. And Freight is still using that really cool gun that shoots it looks like the stun laser that Leia used in Star Wars, where it's like the circles of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that they're drawing it differently though than just regular laser blasts is great. I really like that.
Wait! You command me?
Yeah, he does command you.
I mean,
He does.
Welcome to the party, General Burge.
Yeah. This is great.
Are you not aware of what's going on here?
Yeah, he's getting his control ripped out from under him, which is what happens to all these stories where like they're secretly funded. That's always the double cross, which is wonderful. Like this is a great, fun written Roy Thomas episode because we're getting the political double cross happening while we get the action from the Joes infiltrating. They're still breaking into this, into the castle, which is fantastic. It's fantastic, and they're here to rescue the leaders of the resistance force. It's also nice to see. Why am I blanking on his name?
Pretty sure of yourself, aren't you?
It's so nice to see him. I can remember his name.
He's having an HR
Quick
moment,
Strike.
so.
No. But for real though, because honestly, Quick Strike's been sidelined for a lot of this season, because it was such a focus on Clancy, and so Stone took the lead, and Ballistic had or Eagle Eye rather, he had some features, but Quick Strike's really not been used much. So I like that they've got him on the team this episode. This is great. And we're also going to get, at some point, they're using Mayday. She's also on the team as well. And her specialty is always driving. And they have a great moment in this where they have to let her drive. And that's awesome because they're like, hey, we've got this character. Her thing is driving. And then here we go. We're getting in this rocket sled. So let's find a way in the plot to utilize what their strength and skill is, you know? Even though, I mean, really, they're on it's like a train sled thing. So she's not really driving. She's really just, oh, well, no, here we go. It's a boat that's now we're in the ocean. So now she's driving. And like most
rocket power.
Right. And like most vehicles that she gets her hands on, she finds a way to get it airborne when it's not supposed to be. It's a boat. Boats aren't supposed to be airborne. And yet Mayday always finds a way. That's what I love about her. Cars, she makes cars airborne. Now boats airborne.
Yeah. And there's our resistance captain saving the day there. That's her moment.
She's pretty great.
Blasting the torpedo out of the water.
Yeah.
Probably running some smack at Quick Strike. Again, HR moment.
So now Iron Claw, he now knows that the G.I. Joe team has infiltrated the country. So because again, they were such a small force that they weren't exactly sure who they were, but obviously, Iron Claw's like, all right, let me check my enemies list. Who do I fight? I fight G.I. Joe Extreme.
That's it. That's all I got.
I bet you it's G.I. Joe Extreme. Well, this is great. So he informs the general that I'm gonna unleash my my troops, and actually we're talking about the vehicles stuff like not the detonator. The detonator was the Joe cannon. The Sonic cannon. What is it? Oh, the Spitfire.
Mm-hmm.
And the general's like, wait a minute, you even have troops in my country. How do you have troops in my country? And again, going into this double cross. So this whole time, Scar has just been trying to take over this postage stamp company. And so here comes, what are these? These are the Bone Splitters. That's what they are. They send in a bunch of Bone Splitters with slam action, as the box art says. Slam action.
Some of the rebels got their bones split. So now they have to retreat to a cave.
So
the popular standoff.
So speaking of toys, Mike, I was excited this week because again, guys, I'm new to the toyish, the generational toy game, and I was not aware. And our good friend Jeremiah Stafford filled me in on exactly what these were, but the discount G.I. Joe toys. Do you know those? Well, actually, we're going to commercial. Hold that question.
Today's Filecard feature is on the Stellar Explorer Lobotomaxx with 2 X's. His birthplace is the Morris Sector 5 from the planet Zog. His primary military specialty is Bounty Hunter. Secondary military specialty is Alien Annihilator. A friend to no one, Lobotomaxx hates humanoids and fellow lunatics aliens alike. Proud of his bounty hunter reputation, he is known throughout the cosmos as one of the most unmerciful creatures ever hatched. His monstrous tail can disable enemies in one powerful whack. Seldom does prey escape a bite from his venomous fangs. Unfortunately for him, his intelligence is extremely limited, due to the loss of brain tissue suffered when the top of his skull was sliced off during a laser saber duel with Predacon. Where to even start with all of that? That's for real a lot. If any one character in the G.I. Joe line looked like they belonged in Star Wars, it is this guy. He absolutely looks like a cantina guy. He's got this long neck, bendable. His head looks a little bit like Hammerhead's head. He's got a long tail that kind of balances him out as well. He had his brain cut off by a laser sword. I like his figure. His guns are all molded, same mold yellow. So they're a little garish, but his figure actually has some paint application on it. He's got this green alien body with paint appliques for like chest bandoliers and a shirt and wrist cuffs and stuff. He's a really cool figure. I like Lobotomaxx. I like him more than he had half of his head cut off. So, Lobotomaxx, you native of Morris Sector 5 planet Zog, we salute you.
I guess they were repackaged for places like Dollar Store. Do you know about these?
What era are we talking about?
We're talking
recent?
2008.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I ordered a couple from the internet, and I love them. They're tiny. The figures are the right size, but the cards are tiny.
Yeah.
And they're great. I mean, the sculpts on them are, iffy. Some of them look better than others, certainly. I almost bought Dusty, but that model is frightening. I got Stalker. I got Stalker. It really is. I love Dusty, but that model is not good. I've got Stalker, and he's on this mini card, and the card looks so good. Do you have any of these?
They weren't out there for very long because it wasn't too long before they moved into 25th anniversary whole hog. But there's a few of them out there. I have the Beachhead one, which was a re-release of the Night Force one that came with their version of the Moray, the hydrofoil. And he doesn't have any gear or anything.
No,
it was just something that you'd go into the Dollar General and you'd plunk down your $2 and that was enough.
Yeah, and I really like them. Like, they're really kind of fun. Like, for me, when it comes to collecting, if it's something that I'm like, so comics, I've been doing it long enough, and I've amassed enough of a collection that usually when I go into something, I just kind of go for everything. I blanket everything, right? So something like toys, or if I'm starting to get into something, I like, and this is what I always recommend to people who are new themselves into comics, is to find something small that appeals to you and dig into that, master that. Because when, then that'll give you more joy and pleasure, and you'll learn more about the broader universe and find out, okay, well, so now I've read this miniseries, or I've collected this era of this comic book. Now it makes me want to read more, So yeah. I think I might be doing that with these dollar ones, because they're awesome. They're not that expensive. I also got a Cobra Commander, which is one of the ones on the red. It's the Arashikage paint stripe on the card. I guess they only made 6 of these. It's from 2011 or something.
Yeah, that was what the original ones you were talking about kind of morphed into that.
Yeah.
That Dollar General exclusive wave, and they did 6 different characters, but they did 2 decos on each. So there's technically 12 of them.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Yeah, I saw that there was a blue Cobra Commander out there too. And that sculpt, well, he does come with this one at least, and actually on the back you can see they all come with accessories, but the sculpt is pretty great on this Cobra Commander.
Yeah, well, that's from a little bit later on, and you had a good 25th model or 30th anniversary model figures, and there's a Cobra Commander and a Duke and a Shipwreck, Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow, and the good luck finding some of the Cobra Troopers.
Oh, are they hard to get?
Well, they're troop builders, and they were
cheap, buy them and they open them. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're looking for those on card, good luck there. But I know. I love those things. I bought the heck out of those things.
They're really, really great.
They're great for cheapo customs. The accessories are good. I bought a ton of them, and that was for a couple of Christmases there. That was just the Toys for Tots contributions was just Discount Joe's over and over and over again.
Amazing. Yeah, and
I wish they would do something like that with those markets again.
Well, maybe my hope is that the Walmart stuff, the retro card stuff that we're calling it the retro card. I hope that opens up this market again, because if we just stay at the the $20 to $25 price point, that's not going to bring anyone new in. Hopefully the retro card stuff will bring a little more heat. But these are great.
Maybe.
These are great though. I really, and I don't know what it is about the compact size of the Stalker card, which is the one from 2008, that, it sort of looks like the old card, but it's so much smaller that I don't know what it is about it, but I really think it's attractive. I dig it a lot.
They're easy to keep track of. If nothing else.
Yeah. And they did Kamakura, which was a Devil's Due character. Yeah, although that Dusty is ugly.
Yeah, some of the molds they used, they weren't real consistent about what type of build they were using for those. So sometimes you got some of the new sculpt or the more modern O-rings. Sometimes you got more of the classic O-rings, and so there's not a real uniform look to the figures themselves.
Yeah. So on the show, the Joes have continued to infiltrate, and there's a camp of prisoners, and these are basically the citizens. These aren't even soldiers. These are just the citizens of this country that Scar and the General have imprisoned. So think it's basically concentration camps, really. And the Joes are liberating them, which, written by Roy Thomas, right? This is completely a World War II allegory episode, which is fabulous,
and pretty heavy stuff for a kid show in the 90s.
It is. It really is. Those the people in those cells. Oh boy, they open. That's great. they thought they were opening a cell door, and behind the cell door was a Cobra robot soldier, and Freight and Stone both went, ah.
It didn't hurt that robot is the worst shot in the history of artificial intelligence.
Yeah, he's 3 feet away from him with a 4 cannon mounted gun arm, and he can't hit him. He also is too big for the door, so he breaks through the door. Like, this is great. It's great, and it's it's that gag reveal of like the jump scare where the door opens and there's the killer. That's what just that was amazing. That was amazing. But the point I was making was the models on these villagers that they rescued were not healthy.
No.
They were pretty emaciated and in pretty bad shape. So again, very heavy stuff, especially when you compare them to how the rebel soldiers are drawn. Those soldiers are drawn very healthy. They look well fed. They look like humans who are capable of fighting. And
they're not all beefed out like the Joes, but
right.
they're built. They look like soldiers.
Yeah, and the citizens absolutely were abused. So this is some heady stuff. I think Iron Claw looks fantastic in this episode, by the way. I think the animation on him is really on point. And he, of course, abandons the General when the Joes exposed what was going on and liberated the people. Iron Claw's like, I'm not sticking around to be a loser. You be your own loser.
Yeah.
And
you've served your purpose.
Yeah, and this is a great, and see, look, and there you go. This last shot, you see the contrast of the soldiers standing next to the citizens they liberated, and just how emaciated they were drawn. But that's a great message at the end that Stone delivers, which is, it's all up to you. Like, the power is in the hand of the people. You can liberate yourselves. You can vote to liberate yourselves. Like, in a lot of these structures, people have the ability to stop the BS that's happening, in their country. So, listeners, as we near the elections, watch this episode and pay attention to Lieutenant Stone. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, amen to that.
Yeah, hold on. Let me move this soapbox. Mike Irizarry from What's on Joe's Mind. What a delight. What a delight to have you back on.
If you say so. Man.
Yeah, man. This was great. What did you think of this app?
It's good stuff. I mean, obviously Roy Thomas knows his way around a World War II similar plot.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot packed into that 22 minutes. Like that's a dense watch.
It really is. Yeah. Between all the infiltration stuff, the backhand subterfuge stuff on the part of Scar, the liberating people from concentration camps. Yes, absolutely yes. This was a great episode.
Yeah, it's really solid stuff. It continues. It's the difficult part of G.I. Joe Extreme for me is that the stories are good. I can't say that I've come across I guess it's 8 or 9 of them that I've watched now, where the story's just bad.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are better than others, but they're all generally pretty decent or better.
Mm-hmm.
And but man, the aesthetic on the art is tough.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's not. It doesn't speak to me. I was in high school and college when this one was going on, so it's not what I think of when I think of GI Joe, and I think that part of that is just ingrained.
Yes, you're not wrong. I think the design aesthetic is a hard pill to swallow. They are more visually superheroes than I'm comfortable with. Although I've always made the comparison that basically G.I. Joe is a team of superheroes. Everyone has their own specialty, This guy
Sure.
but that's always supposed to, for my money, for G.I. Joe, that's supposed to be conceptual. It's supposed to be it's the subtext of it. And they're supposed to look like the everyman. It's like why Die Hard is such a great franchise and movie. Well, first few Die Hards are great because he was an everyman. He wasn't a superhero. When you get to this extreme era, everyone looks like the Incredible Hulk, and so it's kind of putting into text what was previously subtext, and so I think that's less appealing. But still worth watching, I think. So remember, everyone, #release the extreme. Awesome. Well, Mike, always a pleasure to chat with you. It's good to hear your voice. Good to hear you're thriving well in the 18th year of our apocalypse.
Only 18.
Only 18.
Seems like longer.
Yeah, and give my best to your co-hosts and listeners. Make sure you check out What's on Joe Mind podcast. It's fabulous.
Absolutely, sir. I will send my regards. I will make sure to smack them around a bit because they are God forbid their lives got in the way. They didn't get on and get on this crazy extreme train.
Oh, you know what? No, I'll take that heat. I need to reach that back out to them. Maybe we'll get them. Maybe we'll get them on for one of these final few slots that we have left. But also, we are not. I am not, for listeners. As I said that earlier, I realized I'm not. Last time we we reached the end of a series, I took a bit of a hiatus because, frankly, I was burned out from all the DIC stuff. I really was. It really was. I'm not burned out this time, so we're not going to stop the train. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to roll right into... Did Spy Troops come next or Valor Venom? I forget which one came first.
I'm pretty sure it was Spy Troops.
Spy Troops, yeah. I'm probably going to roll right into Spy Troops in some way, shape, or form. And then Valor Venom, and then, so we are going to keep this train rolling. So there are definitely going to be more Joe and Joe episodes after this. We're not taking any hiatus on that, but the extreme stuff is coming to an end. So, yeah. So listeners, I appreciate you. Mike, I appreciate you. Oh, and I forget. Well, we gave you a nickname last time. Do you remember what it was?
I do not.
Oh, well, listeners, go back and listen to his previous episode. I think it was episode 3 of the Extreme Era, and find out for yourself. Because as we're listening, I don't recall either.
I was ready for the big reveal there, and I did. Okay.
No, I don't remember what we called you. Mike, I'm getting a comment from our producers booth. I've got a team of producers behind me looking it up, and we called you Crash.
That's right, because it was what would I be, and I would have the barricade buster that just drove through everything.
Well,
now, mind you, that's not based on my actual driving.
No,
it's very clean.
Not at all.
I've not had any accidents that I was responsible for, but it's just more of a. I suppose my athletic career gets best summed up that way. Hey, you're pretty big and can move pretty good. Why don't you go run into that guy?
Yeah, or through him if you can. Well, Crash, thank you so much. Thanks again for joining us on Joe and Joe, man. It's really my pleasure.
It is my pleasure, sir. Anytime you need a running buddy, I am here for you.
Oh, you're fantastic. All right. Well, now you Joe, and Joeing is half the battle. Extreme!
Extreme!